What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, give me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, Bluesky, the community post. You already know the vibes, and I'm back at you with your Dynamite review because it's Wednesday, and you already know what that means. It's time to restore the feeling, you sickos. Speaking of restoring the feeling, the sickos, and all the other slogans that AEW says, man, I just knew in my heart and my soul, because of the week that AEW has had outside of the ring, I just knew that AEW was gonna do that thing that AEW does and send out one of the wrestlers that could have AEW good rah, this is my family, this is how I feed my family, AEW's were the best wrestler, one of those type promos. And thankfully we didn't get that, because we had Eric Bischoff talking about there's no hope for AEW. You had the Dynamite rating from last week. You have this whole thing with Tony Khan and GCW and Ricky Starks, and on top of all that, you got this whole thing with CM Punk and Ryan Nemeth that just popped up, and it's like, oh man, I really hope AEW didn't do that. And they didn't do the AEW promo, the best wrestle promo. They actually just showed you that AEW is a good wrestling show. Like, and then that's what I want. Like, I don't need AEW to throw in my face and constantly tell me this is where the best wrestle. Like, it's a wrestling show. Show me that this is the best. This is where the best wrestle, and that's what they did tonight, man. Tonight was an overall solid show. The Continental Classic is continuing. The opening match was between Shelton Benjamin and Kyle Fletcher, and this was a match I never thought I would see, and this is a match I never thought that I needed in my life, but here we are. It was a good match. And one thing I gotta say is that the crowd tonight was really good. I'm blanking on where the crowd was, but it was a good crowd. They were lively, they were hyped the entire show, man. And that's always a good thing. Another thing is the aesthetic of the show, and lighting helps, right? I don't want to take credit for this because I don't know if I played any role for this, but I tweeted Tony Khan and said, hey man, light the crowd up, man. Show the crowd. I don't know if Tony Khan saw that and actually took heed to it, but the crowd didn't look like the lighting was a lot brighter. So if it was thanks to me, you're welcome. If it wasn't, still, you're welcome. But that helps. Things like that helps, so you can see how into the show that the crowd is, So Shelton Benjamin and Kyle Fletcher, they're out there doing their thing. Kyle Fletcher actually won. He cheated. He's a cheater, pumpkin eater. He rolled up Shelton Benjamin and grabbed the ropes. And then later in the show, you saw the Hurt Business, the Hurt Syndicate. They're talking to Shelton. MVP's talking to Shelton, and he's saying, like, the motto of the group is we hurt people. How come you didn't hurt Kyle Fletcher, man? He lost, and MVP said that he's disappointed in Shelton. And Shelton took to this, and he proceeded to beat up some random guy backstage. Him, Bobby Lashley, MVP, they just started beating up people because they're the Hurt Syndicate and they hurt people. So, they're definitely living up to the name. So good for them. Bad for the people, but good for them. So after this, we got a segment with Hook. We haven't seen Hook in quite a while, but he came out and he challenges Christian Cage to a match at the Hammerstein Ballroom. Like, this is a match. This is a show that's taking place in a couple weeks, so that's pretty cool. What's not cool is the fact that Hook is not really good on the mic. I'm like, yo, the less Hook talks, the better. But he laid out the challenge. He got his point across, and then Christian Cage comes out. Kip Sabian and Nick Wayne come out and they attack Hook from behind, and Christian crushed Hook's arm with the concerto. So how can he overcome the odds? I don't know. Also, this is a reminder that Christian still holds the contract to cash in for his opportunity at the AEW Championship. Speaking of championship opportunities, it's time to say hello to your CEO. Mercedes is in the back. She's talking to Renee Paquette. Renee is asking Mercedes about Camille. Mercedes says Camille is dead to her. She fired her. Whatever happened to Camille, that is not her problem. What is her problem is Anna Jay sticking her nose in the CEO's business. And speaking of Anna Jay, we got the one woman's match. between Anna Jay and Penelope Ford, aka Penelope Ford. And for what it was worth, it was okay. I wasn't really paying attention, but nevertheless, Anna Jay got the win. She won, and then after the match, she called out Mercedes, and Mercedes comes out and says that Anna Jay is good, and in about 10 years, when she accomplishes something in this business, she'll give her an opportunity at the title. And then Anna Jay proceeds to slap her across the face. So I think they said not next week, but in like 2 weeks, it's gonna be a championship match: Anna Jay versus Mercedes Moné for the TBS Championship. My only issue with this is Anna Jay just challenged for the AEW Women's Championship. So I don't really understand how she challenged for one championship, failed, and then said, you know what, I'm gonna go after the other championship. So I don't really get the logic behind that, but it's good for Anna Jay. She's getting more TV time. She's getting more opportunities to wrestle. So that's always a good thing, I guess. But the logic of how we got here doesn't really make too much sense. Speaking of things that make absolutely no sense, we have the ongoing Adam Cole, MJF, Kyle O'Reilly storyline. And this week we had the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royale. And listen, man, I didn't care, because you looked at the people who were involved in the match and you knew exactly what was going to happen. You could tell which way this was going to go. One thing that was surprising was you had Action Andretti and Leo Rush turning on Top Flight. They eliminated them, and kind of the dead giveaway was the fact that Leo Rush and Action Andretti had matching tights and it was different from Top Flight's tights, so that was kind of a giveaway right there. But it sucks to have light-skinned people turn on each other. We got to stick together, but them's the breaks, man. But ultimately, what happens with the Dynamite Diamond Ring Battle Royale, whatever, is it comes down to the last two men, and those two will wrestle next week on Dynamite. And the last two men it came down to was Adam Cole and Kyle O'Reilly. So it's really continuing this whole goofy storyline, this whole power of friendship storyline that they're trying to plug the holes of the devil of the devil storyline. And they're doing the best they can, but I just don't care. The people don't care. You don't care. I don't care. Nobody cares. And then someone who really doesn't care to even show up is MJF. I understand that he's, filming movies and he's working on Happy Gilmore 2, but you can kind of tell this was all done in like one take. We'll just like change his shirt or change his suit or whatever, but it is what it is. So basically what happens next week at Winter is Coming is going to be Adam Cole versus Kyle O'Reilly, and whoever wins that match will wrestle MJF at World's End. So it's looking like we're getting Adam Cole versus MJF part 3 at World's End, maybe, probably, possibly. Hopefully after this it ends, it's over, it's done, because I'm here to tell you right now, we don't care. We don't care. Speaking of something we don't care about, it's the Acclaimed. So you have Billy Gunn and Anthony Bowens talking to Max Caster. Billy's trying to reason with Max Caster and say, listen, man, you don't have to wrestle Swerve. We got to do this together. We're a group. Meanwhile, you have Anthony Bowens, who's just over Max Caster. He's like me for real. He's like, listen, if you think you're the best wrestler alive, prove it, man. Go out there and wrestle Swerve. And Billy's like, what are you doing? So this leads us to our match between whose house? Swerve's house and Max Caster. And this was exactly what I wanted it to be. It was a straight up squash match. Swerve just handled Max Caster, knocked him out, hit him with the house call, 1, 2, 3. After the match, he hit him with the Swerve stomp, finished him off. And then you can see Swerve talking to the camera and saying, it's not over between you and me, Bobby Lashley. So Max Caster got squashed. Swerve won. We're continuing the feud between Swerve and Bobby Lashley. I'm cool, you're cool, we're cool. Hey, speaking of something that is cool, we had a match between Jay White and Pac, and this was really good, man. This was a really good match. I think they said this was the first time Jay White and Pac have ever wrestled, and I'm like, word? Really? If you say so, Excalibur, you mean you have a mask on, so you know what you're talking about. But like I said, the match was good, man. You had a whole bunch of counters. Pac was trying to kill Jay White with the brutalizer. He kept trying to hit the black arrow. Jay White kept trying to hit the Blade Runner. You even had Will Yuta trying to like run interference. Like he hit a Musaiko knee, and the crowd was willing giving it to Will Yuta. They kept chanting Yuta sucks, and I'm like, yes he does. He sucks. But even though you had Yuta trying to run interference, Jay White ended up getting the win with the Blade Runner. And then after the match, you had the rest of the Death Riders attacking Jay White. And Jay White, he was doing his thing. He was trying to handle business until Jon Moxley showed up. And then, surprisingly, you had Hangman Adam Page pull up. And it looked like him and Jon Moxley were about to square up. And I'm like, you know what? Hangman should have been in the position that Orange Cassidy was in, because you can kind of tell that that's what they're doing. Like, you had Christopher Daniels last week talking to Hangman the same way Jerry Lynn was talking to Orange Cassidy. I'm like, Hangman needs to be the one that beats Jon Moxley, and I'll be damned if Orange Cassidy didn't return. Now, I don't have a problem with Orange Cassidy. I just don't believe him in this role of being the guy that's going to take down Jon Moxley and the Death Riders. I can see that being more of a Jay White or a Hangman thing, but Orange Cassidy, you cool, brother, but you know, he's back. He was legit trying to kill Jon Moxley. He was choking him out with a camera cord. That was pretty funny. And then you had all three of these men standing in the ring against Jon Moxley. You had orange punches and blade runners. You even had Hangman hit a buckshot lariat on Jon Moxley. So it's looking like it could possibly be a fatal 4-way at World's End involving all four of these men. And then you had Christian Cage come out once again because he has the contract for the championship. So fatal 4-way, Christian cashes in, maybe, I don't know. And then where does that leave Darby? Because, you know, Darby has unfinished business with the Death Riders. So the Death Rider story isn't all that, but they're doing little things that keep me invested for the most part. So I'm cool. But something that's not cool is Chris Jericho. He is not cool. He's totally uncool. He's the most uncool kid I've ever seen. And he had a New York Minute basically hyping up, you know, the Hammerstein Ballroom. Death Before Dishonor is gonna final battle is gonna be at the Hammerstein. And then you have Chris Jericho talking about TV time on Ring of Honor. So I'm like, cool, it's not on AEW TV, thank you God. But yeah, man, this was kind of weird and awkward and not funny, but here we are. But somebody that's coming back is Bandito. And this is another thing that, you know, AEW is doing. You know, they're doing little vignettes hyping up the return of Bandito. So, you know, I'm not too mad about that. And it was said in the Old West, he had two cowboys talking about an outlaw that's coming back, and it was Bandito. So I like Bandito. I'm excited to see him come back. Somebody else I'm excited to see come back is Julia Hart. She's playing these mind games with Jamie Hayter. And Jamie Hayter's like, yo, pull up, punk, pull up, pussy, so you can get this work. So, you know, they're going to wrestle eventually sometime in the future. Somebody that's going to wrestle next week is Mina Shirakawa and Mariah May. And Mariah May, you know, she's big upping her match with Mina next week at Winter is Coming. And Mina pulls up. It looked like she was about to crack Mariah upside the head with a bottle, but she instead gives her the bottle and says, next week, you and me, let's work it out or something, whatever she said. I wasn't really paying attention, but you know, yeah, it could have been a winner. This could have been a World's End match, but we're getting it. Winter is Coming, so maybe Tony Storm comes back. I don't know, but yeah. But this leads us to our main event, Claudio taking on Brody King, another Continental Classic match. And this was two big men beating the holy hell out of each other. Brody King's nose was bleeding. Claudio was still bald. And he's a cheater, pumpkin eater as well, because he had the referee distracted and hit Brody King with a low blow. So he gets 6 points. He's at 6 points. He's leading the Gold League, I think, in points. So, you know, good for him. And next week, we're getting Claudio Castagnoli versus Will Ospreay. We will be there. I don't know if the feeling will ever be restored, this feeling that people keep talking about, but I'm digging this episode of Dynamite. I'm digging the Continental Classic. This is a good show. This is a good episode, man. More of this. Please I beg of you. But with that being said, guys, what did you think of this week's episode of Dynamite? Let me know in the conversation below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Peace. I'm out. Peace.